Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake Chats 2017, and now I want to talk about the guilt. Okay? Yesterday I've been working in the morning times to wake up into consciousness and just stay there. I don't turn anything on. I don't guide my thoughts. I just let it happen. And it's surprising the kind of info I get. And yesterday morning I thought to myself, this guilt thing, I think that it's time to function without it for a introductory period and determine if perhaps it is an ill-advised mental exercise. And unfortunately I don't have Lent. So, before Lent of, I think it was 2014, it doesn't matter. I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to give up idle complaining. And, anything that, primarily idle complaining. But then if, of course, rumor mongering and stuff like that, I was working in a group setting and that's a currency. Just, no. And no complaining for 40 days. Let's see. Wow. Something I never really gave up. I like it. But this is bigger. Because as a girl, I always thought, since I was a girl, I've really been an advocate of guilt. I've taken one look at the people populating my reality and thought, wow, if they spent any time at all reflecting on their behavior, they'd be crushed with guilt, with shame, with feeling humiliated, with feeling horrible about themselves. And, the next day, the shit would continue. But I always thought, guilt's a good thing. It keeps people on the path. Well, it kept me on the path. Have I done things I feel guilty about? Well, that's the question at hand. The question is not whether I've done stuff. The question is how I feel about it. And of course, the question at its base is, have I done stuff? Do I go out and, do I steal from people? Do I look them in the eye and lie to them? Do I obfuscate and withhold my true intention? Do I play people? Do I do the things that can only lead to harm to another? Things that are done to me with seeming glee. I think I'll drop the guilt. I think I'll do that. I didn't have an end date. I think May 25 is a great end date. I think the solstice is a better end date. No guilt. I know what is right and what's wrong, and in the moment, what's right and what's wrong, what feels good and what doesn't feel good, guides what I do and what I think and where I go and everything. But to do it without guilt, it really led me today to this realization that this last period, the last 24 hours, I've come to some really deep, relieving kind of understandings. I feel great release and relief. Because the stuff that has been in my environment that I have made excuses for and hated myself for and really gotten down on myself about, I realized last night, whoa, this is a preference. This is actually a preference. And I can say for years, it's not. But it is. And it's time to stop lying. La la! And I walked into this realization that I like my house the way it is. And it's not that messy. And I prefer it a little bit askew. I don't mind it. I would love it if I could hire someone to help me. But if it's just me, I'm okay with it. No guilt. And I've thought about, circumstances in my life that I've kept myself on the hook on for and stuff like that. And again, it's like, wow. Preferences. I really, really, really like my life. I like how I've expressed. I like who and what I've loved. And I like having pushed away from tables. I like all of it. This expression is my preference. La la! Whew. I mean, you'd think I would have gotten it, right? But it was this removal of guilt that really did the trick. So I'm feeling really quite good and calm and complete, I guess is a way to put it. And, you know, I could go on a diatribe about how this is something that I have not talked about yet, because I really, really firmly believe that there are people in my reality, in my little storyline, that, you know, if they were visited with the depth and the breadth of the pain they have caused others, just the straight up pain their words and deeds have caused, they wouldn't be able to manage. Something would happen. And it would be beneficial. And it's, I guess, really not my place to wish that on another. But, you know, I mean, don't you wish that overnight Trump would have like a miracle visitation and realize just what it is he's doing to people? Well, he really is unable to do that because he's got his own agenda, doesn't he? And so it's really presumptuous for me to manage other people's realities and assign them, you've got behavior that requires a guilt monster. How arrogant. I'll manage myself instead. I'll manage my own guilt. That's plenty. And I think that it's this belief that guilt is a great way to go, that, you know, is the misunderstanding. Self-realization, open vulnerability, that's the way to go. Holding oneself harmless and understanding that when one has done things that are quite painful to others, they did it feeling justified. Self-acceptance and then reparation, that's the way to go. And this whole line of guilt and shame and humiliation and remorse, it leads to more attachment. So I think that that's really what's breaking, is not the deciding whether I will do it or not, but seeing the device as flawed and no longer completely relevant. And I've really spent my life it's been torture, reviewing my behavior and my thinking and my words again and again and again and again, just ruminating. And that's been something that I've had to stop. And it's part of this whole guilt thing of just managing and monitoring. But it also is a function of having been traumatized and letting a person who is irresponsible and intentionally harmful hurt me, and then I can't quite believe that that's happened. So of course I'm the one who's at fault. And it's the same thing I see my kid doing. It's really dysfunctional. The people who are doing harm are the ones who need to be feeling bad, not the ones who have been harmed. And it's a coping mechanism, and it's one that's reinforced by the people who do things that are inappropriate and harmful, because they can't admit where they're at. They can't really admit how low they sink, and so they have to demonize the person they harm when they're sunk real low. And it's a dance, and it's this dance that I get to, I've talked about it before. Just mid-step, say, you know what? I need to get some air. I'll be back later, maybe. Thanks for the dance. And just leave. So yes, this motif is still there. Fine. Okay, fine. As long as it needs to be there, it's there. But all I know is that it's great to be guilt-free. It's a little bit like being gluten-free. All right, I guess with that I'll leave. I don't have much more to say. I did a 45-minute tape and a 30-minute tape. I think this is just dandy, because I do believe that there are some folks who really could spend, to everyone's benefit, a dark night of their soul. And that kind of pain of being face to face with what they've done to other people might actually shock them into something more. But the thing is that really facing your darkness and your shadow, it really is owning it oneself. And the next step is to walk out and say, I recognize that I really harmed you, and I know that you might not be able to forgive me, but I do want to tell you that I recognize it, and I hope that you can forgive me. But those are words that you don't hear necessarily from folks who are actively engaged in the bullshitology. So it's just moving from those people and not focusing on them anymore. Fine. You keep doing what you're doing. It's beautiful. Have at it. Enjoy that. I don't expect anything more than that from you, so go ahead and keep doing that. And if things do ever change, I'll be hearing it out of your lips, because you're going to come with more self-awareness and self-acceptance and humility. So cool. And if that happens, then, you can come back and rejoin my play. But, yeah. It's just it's a different play is being put on right now. And it has very little to do with recrimination, regret, remorse, guilt, shame, humiliation, trauma, recovery. Yay. Forgiveness. All that stuff is just so heavy. Ugh. So, it's a new day. I think I'll tack along Nina Simone to this, because it is a new day. And it is true that I've done my own dark nights. I've done wrong by people, in my humble opinion, and I've done what I can to make my reparations. And wow, I'm excited, because I'll end with this way. Today is Wesak, and there's a full moon in Scorpio. Delicious. I'm really looking forward to the full moon in Gemini on May 25th, as well as May 25 for personal reasons. But then there's it's Wesak today, And then pretty soon it's the solstice. And September is big and juicy. September, there's a big release coming. Like October, November. Wow, it feels so good. Oh, I can hardly wait. And this last part, that's all right. That's okay. It's not that I have to close my eyes and get through it somehow. It's every day is sparkly magic, but it keeps getting better and better, just energetically. And with the Schumann resonance at 110, let's not forget the Schumann resonance was basically the pH of blood for, I don't know, for a long, long time. 7.37, 7.42, and then boing! It's just amazing. And I did a tape last night about the Schumann resonance, and there was a big blip on the screen because I was really abstracted, and I was saying and really to me the Schumann resonance it's a sound, but it's geometric, and it has to do with spin, it has to do with amperage, it has to do with speed. The Schumann resonance has to do with sound and math and speed and light. And it's just, to me, it's just, I just have to go there, and I can see it all light up, and it's just beautiful what's happening, and the speed is just incredible. And I wish I knew more about the Schumann resonance. I really do. Oftentimes when I hear that there's been a spike, then I'll go to heart math, then I'll go to suspicious observers, and I'll do some research. But in the moment, this is really how I want to end. In the moment now, I'm finding I can remember. It's not optional that I'm thinking about ascension, or I'm thinking about consciousness shift, or the bigger reality, or galactic reality. I don't have to refer to notes or to some bangle around my neck. It's in my mind. It's in my breath. And I really like that. It's a very big relief. And maybe that's some of my compartmentalization that's coming down. Because, this you'd think would be stuff that I'd be able to access anytime for peace and healing and wisdom, and it hasn't been like that. It's been a struggle. It's been the yammer, the guilt, the all that stuff. And so internally, to see this pushing away of the detritus, and a laying down of just walking from a cluttered, dark path into one that's just like a super highway, completely lit up and brand new, loaded with friends. And still, in the back of the brain is, well, it could all turn to shit. It could all turn to shit. No, it's not like that anymore. Any kind of challenge, well, that's nice. Okay. And, if there has to be some sort of a throwdown of continued belief in the process or not, fine. I don't think I need to have anything be quite that dramatic. This is real. Ascension is happening right now. I'm one of the representatives of it. And I can remember my ancient teachings and things that I haven't been taught, but I know, and bear out when I do the research as I'm making coffee. And it comes with this dismissal of the device of guilt. So there you go. That's my morning. It's my gift to you. Now I need to do other things and be a gift to others and to self. So I hope that you're having a ducky week. And all I can say about the news going on is, ooh, we're having fun now, aren't we? Sunlight is the best disinfectant there will come a time when the truth is known. When you can't keep a secret. And that's going to change a lot. When people no longer will accept an utter lack of morality, integrity, and honesty in their men. You're on notice, dudes. And the women among our tribe, who have that particular way, you're on notice too. So you keep telling your lies and you keep hiding. Enjoy that. Because the lights are on. And it's fine. Keep trying to hide. It's kind of cute. But, yeah, it would be better if people approach themselves, I think, realizing that they're probably going to have to feel guilty about a couple of things they've done. And to figure out a way to deal with that and manage that without pounding the person that they feel guilty about. Very interesting times, these. And I'm glad I'm on this end of it, I'll tell you. I'm glad I did my work. And I hope you don't think that sounds sanctimonious. It just is, I'm glad that I followed instructions. I'm glad I believed what I believed. It was against all odds and against the prevailing mentality that I did what I did. Wow, I'm glad I did. Whew. So, I am going to walk through this next part giggling. And, necessarily sometimes worried. But, God, it's really on. And I'm so glad it's finally here. So, happy Ascension, everybody. Happy Wesak, Buddhists. And happy evolution. Oh, that's exactly what we're doing now. It's real, it's real, it's real. With that, I close. Namaste.